Number 4. From one title I consider a perfect game, to another genre full of them. Rhythm games as a whole are a pretty simple genre of games to understand. All you need to jump right on in is your enthusiasm for music. The best ones have difficulty options which allow you to slowly develop your sense of rhythm at your own pace. The first ever rhythm game I ever played, I think, was Donkey Konga. It was a very cool game, using a bongo controller as its instrument. However, its track list I felt was pretty lame, and it didn't entice me to replay it much. The music wasn't really me. Mind you, I didn't have much of an identity as a child. I remember being asked at school what my favourite band was, and I didn't know. Panicked on the spot and said, Ali G, because that dumb movie was popular at the time. But I do remember that I listened to a lot of rock. My mother listened to artists like Tom Petty and Meat Loaf, the latter of whom I really enjoyed, while modern Sonic games had exposed me to some amazingly high energy guitar solos that I have never been able to forget. I have even briefly learned guitar and piano when I was young. So it was destiny that I was introduced to the Guitar Hero series when I met my first friend at college. His favourite bands at the time were Children of Bodom and Paramore, and when I heard these musicians for the first time, it changed me forever. And when I experienced Guitar Hero for the first time, I was enamoured. What a perfect game concept. What a perfect controller. I have nothing much to say except that this is genius. Now, I remember a lot of debate at the time about whether or not Guitar Hero actually teaches people how to play music. There were a lot of naysayers. I have this to say on the subject. Guitar Hero is such a perfect simulation of the feeling of empowerment that one has to feel when they actually have the ability to do this in real life. You get an immersive and high quality sound that dynamically changes depending on how well you play. If you want your song to sound good, you will have to earn it. This game does somewhat teach people the basics that are required in order to learn real instruments. To play masterfully on expert difficulty requires a focus and muscle memory and sense of rhythm that has to be beneficial for beginners. It doesn't matter if the controller isn't accurate at all. The game delivers such an immersive audio and visual experience for those who master the thrill of the game's most challenging note arrangements that there's no way the player doesn't feel the same kind of empowerment that a real-life master musician and performer must feel. Guitar Hero is inspiring, and it certainly inspired myself to discover many songs and musicians who have gone on to live forever rent-free in my music library. If you got into music via rhythm games, I think that is so cool and I want to hear about it. And while I have never gone on to master any musical instruments, I still have a desire to, and I have such a deep love and appreciation of a wide range of music genres, and I have Guitar Hero to thank for that. And as I grew older, so did the Guitar Hero series. We got more games with more songs, features, and instruments. World Tour was such a great step forward for the series by introducing true co-op via band play. And the drums were an amazing instrument that quickly became my main over the guitar. Same with my friend. We had to take turns, but I have many happy memories of just rocking as a band for hours and hours every day, and it never got boring. Drumming even became my daily morning exercise routine, as I built up quite the sweat on Expert Plus. Guitar Hero 5 and Band Hero both became replacements for World, with its addition of allowing for more than one of each instrument. David and I could finally drum together simultaneously, cooperating so that we don't fail the song, yet competing for a better percentage as we were both on the same difficulty. Guitar Hero fuels many of my inner desires, my need to exercise and push myself, my need to be part of a team, my competitive nature, my inner spirit of rhythm that I have never been able to contain. And we played the series on the Wii, which was my platform of choice, and favoured because there was no lag due to the Wii remote plugging into the guitar like it was a nunchuck, and the fact that Activision were 100% committed to supporting the Wii with DLC and import packs. They were good times. By the time Warriors of Rock had launched, we pretty much had every song, hundreds of random songs to play whenever, and an impressive collection of instruments and spares and repairs. It was a shame that Guitar Hero 6 was an unintentional swan song. It's by far the best game in the series. Takes me back to Guitar Hero 3 with its career mode, and it's the game that introduced me to the band Rush. Activision drowned the marketplace in many unnecessary standalone releases that could have easily been DLC packs. They cancelled the series after 6 failed to reach sales targets. They killed their own series. I was heartbroken. I remember this parody song released on YouTube the day the news broke. It felt like the end of an era. Except it's a good thing that Harmonix, the original creators of Guitar Hero, never lost sight of the fun and importance of occasional releases and truly did the heavy lifting when it comes to advancing the rhythm game genre. Rock Band was the first game to do the whole play as a whole band shtick. Guitar Hero stole that. Rock Band 2 featured a variation of different genres and an interesting track list with a DLC library with thousands of songs available. Even to Wii owners, Harmonix went just as hard in supporting the Wii as Activision did, and I feel they did a more inclusive job. Rock Band 2's Wii port was very impressive, and I'll never forget when my great aunt, who lives in the USA, bought Rock Band 2 for me one lonely Christmas while I was living in supported accommodation. Rock Band 3 also came to the Wii and provided more of an evolution than Guitar Hero ever managed. It added keytar and came with a real MIDI keyboard. It was even compatible with every single kind of relevant music controller you could think of, and its DLC store just kept on growing. You could even import previous games' libraries to 3. And to truly show the naysayers who's wrong, they only went and made full-on versions of musical instrument controllers, each with their own advanced teaching modes that would actually teach you how to play real music, or just plug in a real compatible instrument. I think this was a response to Rocksmith, which I haven't played myself, but heard other gamers talk about when it came to the philosophical question on whether rhythm games do indeed teach you real music skills. And while I never actually played these modes, at least with the guitar anyway, those things cost way too much money at the time. I did get a taste of it thanks to the game coming with the keyboard, so I once again found myself learning piano, just like the brief time I spent as a child doing so. The drums even had a pro mode, where if you had any extra cymbals, they would be accurately represented on the note bar. So with all these features in mind, and the many happy days I spent playing all these games, and the fact that Rock Band as a series is still alive, I can't help but feel Rock Band 3 is the best rhythm game of all time, and by default, that makes it my 4th favourite game of all time. Rock Band 4 never came to the Wii U, so I felt abandoned as a customer who had invested so much money in Wii instruments and DLC, and I hear the fanbase crying out for new controllers for their PlayStations and Xboxes. It's time for either a new Guitar Hero or Rock Band, and I'm inclined to say Rock Band because I trust Harmonix more. Activision already tried and failed to revive Guitar Hero with Live, a soulless reinvention of Guitar Hero as a paid live service. It had 0% heart and about 5% of the content of the last game in the series. What a disappointment. And I know Harmonix is owned by Epic Games now, but if we take that potential budget and just let Harmonix do their thing with complete control, then I'm sure I'll be streaming Rock Band 5 on my Nintendo Switch successor sometime in the distant future, staying in shape and keeping my inner spirit alive, and maybe that game will replace Rock Band 3 as my 4th favourite game of all time.